Welcome to the Roleplay Mechanic, where I show you how to have fun wrong, and today I'm going to show you how to play the Inventor wrong by being a monster hunter. Why exactly is this playing the Inventor wrong? Well, because as I like to mention before, in order to know how to do something wrong, we have to know what is right. As the Inventor, you are the creator of sort of like guns and gears sort of thing. You're making machines, tinkering with things, from like guns, whirligigs, gears, sprockets, all that kind of stuff. In fact, take a look at the iconic character. The official iconic character for the Inventor is, as you see here, he's got a little contraption companion that follows him, some kind of weird gadgetry type hammer. He's got all sorts of gadgets just all about and whatnot, but this is not how we are going to be playing Inventor. No, instead, we will be hunting down monsters and creating weapons and tools that are much more enhanced and capable based on the creatures we hunt. We are much more nature-based instead of being mechanical and gears, metal, all that kind of stuff. Granted, of course, we definitely are going to have plenty of metal here. Now, the fun part about this one is I have many different ways. I didn't actually make one specific build for this. Instead, I got a variety of different weapons that you can choose depending on what kind of playstyle you like in Monster Hunter. Alright, starting off with my favorite weapon style, the Greatsword. This one, you go in there, charge up, do a powerful hit. It's methodic, you get those huge payoffs when you land those powerful hits. This is definitely my personal favorite style. This one's actually fairly easy to do. We're just gonna do the weapon innovation, with our weapon being a Greatsword. But we'll be taking the weapon modification, Hefty Contraption. This allows us to do a shove check with our Greatsword, as well as raising and versatile bludgeoning. So when we hit something, say like a skeleton that has like resistance to slashing damage, it's not going to take less damage because we're going to do bludgeoning instead. Because if you hit a skeleton with this giant sword, you're not slashing it, you're bloody crushing it. So weapon modification, heavy composition on a Greatsword, you get this. Obviously, some other things that you could also do with this is the core class features of the Inventor, such as Overdrive. One action, you get a damage bonus of either fire or just raw damage. You could flavor this as you're using a Rathalos type weapon, or a Yangaruga, whatever kind of fire type weapon you want. As well, if you want to use a much more raw physical kind of thing, you could say that one action for Overdrive is you quickly pulling out a whetstone, do a quick sharpen, get in the action. Very Monster Hunter flavored vibe, I love that. As well as, you could use the weapon explosion. Now hear me out on this one. One of the core features of the Inventor is to explode your innovation. I like to imagine this as you're doing a super heavy charge with your Greatsword, and as you come bring it down, boom, massive fiery explosion from your like Rathalos type Greatsword. Very flavorful, love this one. Next up, another weapon that I'm sure a lot of people love. I know specifically this is my brother's favorite weapon style, the Longsword. A much more rapid-paced anime style, as I like to call it. We'll be using weapon innovation, obviously, but we'll be using a advanced weapon. We'll be forgoing a weapon modification because we get to use an advanced weapon, but the Nodachi I'll show on screen here is a perfect fit for the Longsword. Plenty of ways that you could reflavor this very easily, such as a Tigrex for full physical, or again, you could do some fire-based ones, mixing it with Overdrive. Very much that you can use the same kind of flavor from the greatsword here as well. For one action, you take out your quick whetstone, sharpen, swing in there. Definitely, these two weapons fit very well. Now on to some other fun, interesting ones. What about the other very iconic weapon in Monster Hunter? The hunting horn, everyone's favorite battle bard. You have a massive chunk of a hammer, but it's not just a hammer, it is an instrument. Well, believe it or not, there is a very rules as written weapon that we can do this with. I'll show it up on screen now, the battle lute. Granted, we will reflavor it. Instead of saying it a lute, we're going to make it a giant horn. That is just flavor. But we can use this mechanically as a instrument, as well as we can make performance checks and performance bonuses that this weapon gets. Like, bonuses to the weapon can also apply to the performance here. Like, the battle lute absolutely can be a battle horn for Monster Hunter. It works so well. For our weapon modification, because obviously we're going a weapon innovation with this one here, we will go with complex simplicity. Nice thing about the battle lute, it is a simple weapon. It's not even martial, which means if we take complex simplicity, we will step its damage die up by 1, as well as give it piercing and slashing in addition to bludgeoning. So we'll be able to do all forms of physical damage with our battle horn, or hunting horn. Now, another fun one that I accidentally came across on this one, level 8, I know it's quite a few levels in, but at level 8, we can get Overdrive Ally. So when we use our Overdrive action, we can give our bonus to our allies, and that very much will feel like a hunting horn from Monster Hunter. This works very well. Alright, moving on to some more advanced weapons, we're going to do one of my favorite weapons right next to the greatsword, the Charge Blade. This is your sword and shield that is capable of switching into a giant two-handed axe that can explode. This one I was actually able to do with the Inventor as follows. There's a process here that you'll be getting some things over the course of levels, so it works quite very well if you're starting at, say, like level 5, but I'll show you the process here. First, weapon innovation, obviously. We'll be taking longsword, plain and simple, just a longsword, with our weapon modification being segmented frame. That will allow us, I think, to fuse our shield with our sword and basically able to hide our sword into our shield, which here and there, but the flavor of how segmented form is described fits this part quite well. After a couple levels, at level 4, is then we will truly get into the Charge Blade. At level 4, we can pick up a feat called Dual Form Weapon, which allows us to switch between two different types of weapons. So the second weapon form is going to be a Great Axe, just a simple but very chunky, delicious D12 Great Axe with the heavy composition. This will allow our second form, when we swap into it, to deal either slashing or bludgeoning, because if we're using this giant axe, we can smash through things. If things have slashing resistance, doesn't matter, we're hitting with them with like half a ton sword. It's, yeah, heavy composition. The other one on this one here is we can reflavor Overdrive to be our files from our shield. I think this works quite well, fitting in with the flavor. As you start attacking with them, Overdrive, you slam your shield into your weapon, charging it up more. It works. It definitely works. And of course, when your weapon explodes, like, you got to do that when you're in Great Axe form, you know? If you're a Charge Blade user, you know. Alright, here's one final last weapon that we can try replicating as a Inventor from Monster Hunter. How about the Insect Glaive? This one definitely caught my thought because, one, I know my buddy Hollow likes his Insect Glaive, but there's some other ones that I got to thinking. So, we'll also be using some of our skill feats with this one to potentially pick up Quick Jump and Powerful Leap. This will allow us to jump really high as a single action, and the other one to jump even further, so we can get that nice jumping around, mobile kind of feeling of the Insect Glaive, as well as we are not getting weapon innovation for this one. No, we are getting the construct innovation. Take a guess why. Our insect, or our kinsect as it's called in game. This will allow us to have our little kinsect buddy that follows us around, and we can command them around, go in, come out as we jump around the field, swiping around with our glaive. In addition, this one I didn't notice until I was working in the script, but I found at level 1 there is Explosive Leap. I don't know how I missed this one, but it fits so well for the Insect Glaive. I just started laughing on this one. For one action, we can just like grenade launch ourselves. We just like shoot beneath us, launching us like 30 feet. It basically is the Kinsect glaive here. I'd definitely take this at level 1. Immediately you get that very mobile kind of feel. That's the other one. This Insect Glaive, instantly you get that feeling at level 1. We got our Kinsect, we got Explosive Leap, we got our Glaive. We get all sorts of good stuff, and we can definitely feel like a monster hunter right at level 1 as like an Inventor class. Well, that's all the weapons that I quickly kind of forged up together, but if I must throw one additional final thing here, if you're having free archetype, which I don't know why you wouldn't, free archetype, grab Familiar Master. This will give you one small little companion to help you on your adventures. It's your feline. You get your little cat buddy at 2nd level, and you can have your Monster Hunter like full-on vibe with your, your cat companion. You got your weapon that you've built from things that you've slain, and totally work with your DM on this kind of deal. Like, work with your DM on this one. There's so much extra flavor that you could potentially get out of this. Sorry, not just flavor, but like quest ideas. Say, can we try hunting, one of my favorites? Let's go after the Rathalos or the Rathian. Maybe a Basarios. Start working on, like, building up very cool weapons or armor or even other extra contraptions. And you could bring many other little gadgets and tools along with you and try capturing things. Tell me about this one. When's the last time have you tried actually capturing a monster in your game rather than just straight up slaying it? Try capturing something and then potentially studying it and bringing it home. That I've never even considered this idea. I don't know why, but like suddenly when you start playing, instead of like an inventor and tinker and whatnot, and you just lean into this more slightly tribal kind of nature of building up things from these creatures that you're slaying, you get a whole nother way of thinking of what's going on. I love this idea. Yeah. Alright, if you like what you see here, definitely subscribe. I'd love to have you around. I love coming up with these complete reflavoring and redesigning of classes. I try my best to stay as mechanically accurate as possible while completely redescribing things. Take, for example, my druid, where you play as like the Terminator. But sometimes I do also like adjusting one tiny little thing here and there. But naturally, if you would like to see more, stick around. I don't have planned for my next video yet. I will be workshopping as much as I can. I've got about half of the classes left, so there's still plenty more to to come by. So if you want to see more of how I'm breaking these classes in ways that definitely are not what they are, stick around. I'll see you next time.